Hi, welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. My name is Leo Connors and I'm your host. And tonight I got a very special guest, a jack of all trades in wrestling,
Yes.
also a fan, Dave Fournier.
Leo, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, man. This is awesome. I've known you for a while. We haven't really talked a wicked lot, you know what I mean? But we've known each other for a while.
Back to the NEWA days.
Yes.
The Quincy Social Club.
That place. I used to love Georgia shows.
Yes,
Those
they
were
were.
awesome.
Those were some fun
All right,
stuff.
Dave, where'd you grow up?
I actually grew up in Stoneham, Massachusetts, which is where actually, as you mentioned on your Facebook post, I used to do a cable access show there.
Yep.
Back in the late 90s. So grew up in Stoneham.
Nice. We're going to definitely get into that, too. When did you first see pro wrestling? I love this question because I love hearing when they watched it.
This is going to show my real age to people that don't know it. So back in 1982, my cousin, who was 5 at the time, and my uncle were talking about this guy, Superfly, and had no idea anything about wrestling at this point. And one Saturday, they mentioned it a couple weeks later, one Saturday, I'm just flipping through the channels in the UHF dial, and there's this guy, Superfly, on my screen. And
wow.
Just got hooked after that. And
yeah.
Haven't stopped, Here we
was that your first favorite wrestler?
That was.
Because he wasn't my first, only because I'm older than you. Mine was 72.
Wow. That's the year I was born.
Yeah. And the first guy was Chief J.
Yep.
But I bought the magazines all the time. So Snooker, all these guys that when cable hit, I was so excited because I had already known every wrestler, pretty much that had a name in the business through the magazines.
Like Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Awesome.
All right, were your friends, or your family you just said was into it, but how about your friends from school?
I did have some friends in school. That's kind of how made friends with some people in school was because of our similar likes for wrestling. My brother, my father used to take me to the Boston Garden pretty much every month during my childhood, and then, some friends, more so in the later years, that actually did the cable access show with me.
Right. That's cool, because nobody in my family liked wrestling.
Oh, wow.
No one. My brother finally, when Brock Lesnar and Angle came around, my brother finally was like, oh, this wrestling. I said, I thought it stuck. I thought I was a moron for watching it all the time.
It's funny, just quick story. My mom, she didn't like it at all, but she used to always watch whenever Tito Santana was on, and she used to always say to me, he's the only guy that doesn't cheat. So
Tito was great, though. I love Tito.
He was actually the first title change I saw in the Boston Garden.
Oh, really?
Tito Santana beat Morocco February of 19...
That was at the Boston Garden?
February 11th, 1984.
Nice. I remember when he won the tag titles with Putski in like 79.
Yeah.
And I had actually watched Putski go from the gut to jacked. I mean, he was a little guy, short guy, but man, was he jacked back then.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I liked Putski. When did you go to your first show?
First show was November of '83.
Yeah.
Bob Backlund, Mass Superstar for the title, and they did the Snooker Morocco cage match, which was the same finish that they did in Madison Square Garden. It was kind of funny because I went to the Boston show and saw the finish in Boston with him going to headbutt Morocco. Morocco falls out of the cage and wins. That happened when I saw it in Boston, and then USA Network aired the Madison Square Garden house show with the same match. And as a 10-year-old kid, I'm going, wow, talk about bad luck. That happened to him twice in a row.
Yeah, because you didn't know. That's funny. How about indie shows? What was your first indie show? Did you know about indies at all, like at the beginning when you first started?
When I was in middle school, a friend of mine, his dad got tickets to a local show at the Melrose Middle School.
Okay.
Didn't really remember much about it, even to this day. I remember there was a guy that I saw as a jobber on WWF TV, Rudy Diamond. That was in the main event of this show. That's all I really remember from that.
Right.
And then really didn't go to any other indie wrestling until 1994. I was watching, I had moved from Stoneham to Melrose, and there was a cable access show with Pat Doyle and a guy that wound up being a good friend of mine that recently passed away a couple of years ago, Paul Jackwitz, who we call the Jackal.
The Jackal.
And they had a cable access show that I used to call into all the time, and they were hooked up with Tony Rumble, and Tony was running the show for the hockey team in Melrose, and started going, and just kind of went from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool. I was gonna say, so did you ever get to know Tony at all?
Oh yes, yes. Tony was the guy who actually got me kind of involved when I started my own cable access show.
Right.
Tony gave me full access to come with my cameras and interview whoever I wanted. His rule always was, I'm not going to ask anybody to do the interview. You do that yourself.
Right.
You have free reign to go ask whoever you want. And always,
he was a great guy, huh? Because
guy.
I only just watched him wrestle. I never had, any interactions with him. But from what everybody says, just a great guy.
Yeah, just.
I remember Lobster Man would tell me stories when I used to do merchandise for him, and him and Tony were friends, good friends.
Yeah, that was the thing with Tony. There was all these politics in wrestling, but Tony never had those politics. He got along with everyone. And,
That's pretty cool. And so your show, you had told me, your show was shown in Stoneham and Woburn?
Yes. So the Cable Access studio was located in Stoneham, but Woburn didn't have their own studio at the time, so it was shared. Stoneham and Woburn were together.
Oh, nice.
So because of that, we got the ability. At first, we were just Stoneham, and then they gave us the ability to be on the Woburn channel, just as long as you did a certain number of episodes.
That's cool. Very nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Kind of got us a little bit more.
Yeah. Before we get into fan questions, I want to talk to you a little bit about your show.
Yes, of course.
And there are some questions in here about your show. But I just want to know, was there anybody that you almost got but didn't and was like, wow, you know what I mean? Because I want Jeff Coster on this show so bad, Jeff, you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but it would be like my honor to have him on here.
It's kind of funny, and I'll tell you a quick story since you brought up Jeff. Went to a couple of his shows that they let us bring our cameras to and actually tape some of the matches, and we did some interviews and stuff. But at the time, it was when he was doing his Jeff Costa for President.
Oh, yeah!
And Jason Wolfman, his rule was you can interview anybody you want, but not Lobster Man, because they were trying to protect that whole image at the time, which I got it.
Yeah.
So he was one of the people I missed. There was... when I went to Tony's shows, a lot of people did interviews with me. Sergeant Slaughter did interviews, The Public Enemy.
Wow.
But one guy that refused was Bam Bam Bigelow, and I just don't know why. I don't know if he's having a bad day, but he just outright just like, no, I'm not doing it.
No kidding.
Yeah, and he's one I would have really liked. Grew up a big fan of his.
Yeah, probably at one point he was the best big man in the business. Yeah. And then Vader came around.
Yes.
And I think that
trumped it.
Yeah, had to. Vader was incredible. All right, because like I said, we'll get into we'll find, I can't remember exactly what the questions were, even though I wrote them down, but we'll go back to your show after.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so our first question is from, first off, Rich Lannon.
I do know Ref Rich Lannon.
Now, do you know that I'm related to Rich?
I did not know that.
His first cousin is the mother of my two older kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Small world out there.
I'm so excited that he's going into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame this year.
That is well deserved.
And he's probably watching, but just so you know, I am trying to get some of your family members there, just so you know, and hopefully they'll be there.
And I actually ran into Rich at the Tony Rumble Memorial Show.
I wanted to go, but nobody wanted to go. My car wouldn't start. Maria don't get home until 7 o'clock every night, so I was stuck. All right, so the first question is, tell us everything you remember about your talk show.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh. How about just a little bit, and then we'll dig into, guests and things like that after.
So it actually started because, as I mentioned, I was kind of a fan of the show that was on in Melrose, and I had moved back to Stoneham.
That's Led's show, right? Was that Led? No, the Jackal show.
Jackal and Pat Doyle.
Right.
It was actually Pat Doyle. He worked at the station.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you know Pat, but
I don't.
He did a lot of Tony Rumble's TV when it went on WNDS.
Okay. Actually, I did hear his name before by Knuckles.
Okay, yes.
I said his name.
And then they kind of stopped because he was focusing on doing Tony's weekly TV show.
Right.
And I was like, I'd like to kind of do that. And one time, just, was living, so I went down to the studio, had to go through some classes because they made you learn all the equipment in order to produce a show there. And just kind of started it, got some volunteers to run the cameras and direct the show. And started with, just me and my brother actually did it. He was 10 years old at the time.
Okay. That's cool.
It was kind of fun.
I've had my grandson on here, so
Josiah.
It's pretty cool.
Is that how you say his name?
Josiah.
Josiah, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And then he was at that point where he was, just getting to middle school, and he didn't want to do it anymore. And then I had a friend who I went to high school with, Ed Simpson, and he came on, and him and I hosted the show pretty much for the entire, except for the last year he left because he kind of was, busy with work. And,
right.
And that's what made me kind of wind it down after that.
But you said you did it for 7, 8 years.
Yeah, 1995. We started November of 95 and went till 2003. So
wow, that's awesome. It really is.
Almost 8 years here.
Yeah. And now, did you ever watch, just real quick off subject, but did you ever watch Shooter Show? Because I've never seen it. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube.
I used to see, he used to have them online.
Okay.
He had an actual website, so I have seen Scott's shows a few times.
I'll have to look, ask him
I'm sure they're on YouTube.
I'd love to see it.
He used to have a YouTube channel anyway.
Okay. Yeah, because he said to me he'd like to do something with me, and I'd love to do it, maybe we can get you involved too.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, the three of us.
Definitely.
All right, John Rodale.
Oh.
These days, YouTube is a great way to get known in the world of wrestling. Back when getting experience and exposure was totally different, that is one of the many reasons I enjoyed being a guest on Inside Pro Wrestling. In fact, the first time I was on, I was also the first time I'd met Dave and the co-host. I guess if I had a question, it would be how he felt about being part of the hit show Full House. He will know what I mean.
Oh, yes. And I know everybody else probably doesn't unless
No, so you're going to tell us.
Because I know Ref Rich Landon put a clip in the comments of that particular show, so some people might know what he's referring to. But John came on. He'd been managing on some of the Tony shows, and I knew he had gone to Kowalski's, and he actually was the guy that managed Triple H in his debut match.
Right, exactly.
And John came on. We didn't really talk anything. He got there a few minutes before.
Yeah.
We didn't really discuss anything, and he just came on. And at the time, there was another guy, George Guida, that lived in Stoneham that was doing it. So it was me, Ed, and myself. And he just came on. I became Dave Coulee, which was one of the uncles on Full House. And
right.
Ed Simpson was John Stamos, who was Jesse. And then George was the other guy. I can't think of his name.
So he was calling you guys that on air?
The entire episode.
Danny Tanner.
Yes.
That's the other
Danny
one.
was the Bob Saget.
I have little kids. Well, they're not little no more.
No. Yeah, Bob Saget. Yeah.
Nice.
And he just went, and I mean, just the whole show was just,
That's hilarious.
And even people that, helped on the show, they really weren't wrestling fans, but they came down to, run the cameras, direct the show, and they always were like, when is he coming again? And, we're like, well, we can't have him too much because you ruin that whole uniqueness of having him
So how many times was he on?
I'd say probably 5 or 6 times.
That's awesome.
Tried to keep it to once or twice a year just because.
Right. I'm trying to get him on, and it might take some time. Some guys, it takes a while, you know what I mean? But
I know he's been away from wrestling for a bit now.
That's the thing, too. Like I was telling you, like off air, like with Eric Sprague, that's what he told me. He's like, he's like stepping away. But I did say to him at the end, I said, if you ever change your mind, please, can I be the first one?
Nice.
Because that happened with Julian Starr. He did a podcast, and right away I was like, hey, you said you didn't want to do a show. And he goes, the minute I was done, I thought of you, and I'll do your show. And he came on, and I actually told him today in the post that we didn't even know each other at all. I knew he was a wrestler. He didn't know me.
Okay.
But by the end of the interview, I swear I watch it back, it's like we knew each other forever.
Yeah.
He's just a great guy. And he was a great guest.
I know him from the Chaotic shows.
Right.
Said hello to him. I don't know him very personally, but seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, and his girl's really nice, Suzanne. I got to know Suzanne. She's awesome. Good friend. All right, George Resnick Jr. You know George?
I do know George.
All right. When is he coming to check out Lucky Pro? You've never been to Lucky Pro?
I have not been.
Really?
And that's one of my plans is to try to get there because I've been telling George that I would go and just wanted to check it out. Heard a lot of good things.
They put on good shows. There's no doubt. I just haven't made it to in a while, but I like the company.
Nice. And I know Brian Cairo, who somebody I know from way back to the NEWA
Cairo.
days again.
Yep.
I know he's involved in Chris Sullivan, and it's hard because of my work schedule, and I think we were talking a little bit too. Is people don't always want to go to shows. Like years ago, I could get
there was a million people to go. Oh yeah.
Now it's not.
No, I know
as
you're
easy,
saying. Yeah, I got heat with Chris Sullivan. I'm just kidding. No, because he did that Truth Justice. I've been asking him for 2 years, Chris. Just busting you, but I always wanted Cairo, Chris, Tony.
Tony S.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Tony S. and Tony A.
Okay.
Chris's friend.
Okay.
Aurelio.
Oh yes. Okay.
You know what I mean? And Big Jim. Eventually, I'm sure I'll get them all. All right. Ref Rich Landon is back with another question. What was it like at the Tony Rumble tribute show? And what did it feel like working the music for the show? Was it good to see people after all these years?
So it definitely was great. I mean, Eric Sprague, who you mentioned, I hadn't seen him since back.
Really cool guy.
He was on my talk show. He did a whole him, Knuckles. Somebody else was on at the same time. And it was kind of when the NWO was a big hot thing in wrestling. And they would, the Brotherhood with Tony Rumble. Trey, the Smooth Operating Gangster, was with them as well. And they actually did a thing where they took over the show and they kind of just had me and the co-host just laying on the floor in front of them. At the end of the show, I remember Eric went up on a ladder and he said, I'm going to drop the elbow on you. Well, what he forgot is we're in a TV studio. So he's trying to do it without hurting me. But now as he's coming down, he realizes nothing I can do. So he came right down on my chest. And he felt so, I guess he'll be okay with me saying it now. But he felt so bad afterwards because he's like, I didn't know what to do. And I was like, but good guy. It was great to see him. Damon D'Arcangelo was there. Vinny Capelli, who was one of the original.
I remember Vinny.
He was there. Sheldon Goldberg was there. Tony's wife.
Nice, because of all the stuff that went on afterwards when Tony passed and everything. It's nice that they all were in the ring and they could all put their differences behind them for a great moment.
Yes, I mean, there was sadly things that happened.
Right.
And it was nice to see everybody together, like that on one night. And on the music, Bo Douglas, whom I've known a long time as well.
Another great guy.
Great guy.
Awesome.
He had just said, I'm looking for somebody to do the music. And I said, well, if you don't have anybody else, you're happy to do it. And he's like, you really want to do it?
Why
I'm
not,
here,
right? I'm here watching the show
I'm
anyway.
here watching anyway, so, just, and,
Nice.
but yeah, it was really, Joel Davis, though, I don't know if you know the real Joel Davis. Haven't seen him in forever.
Right. I saw him at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a little story after air.
All right.
Joel.
Yeah. Joel was misbehaving at the Tony show, too.
Yeah, he was misbehaving at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame ceremonies, too. So it was great to see everybody.
It was. Amazing night.
Right.
Just to get all those people. Gino Martino was there, who's somebody I've, used to go to a lot of shows with.
Right.
Did a History Channel segment with him when he was on there.
He's awesome.
Hadn't seen him in a long time, and he's in great shape. You wouldn't recognize him if you saw him.
No, I see his pictures on Facebook, and he looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But another great guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Really, really great guy. My son, that was my son's favorite wrestler. And then he started getting into the small guys.
Small guys, yeah.
But we used to love it when he'd be on, like we'd see him at Jeff shows and he'd be on the apron. Who wants to see a fat fly? And we're like, we do. Yeah. But he's a good guy.
Great guy. Yeah, great guy.
All right, Brian Duffy. Do you know Brian?
I know Brian.
Okay, because I don't know Brian, but thank you for the question too, Brian. This is the first time he's asking. Out of every wrestler on the indies who made it big, who did you like interviewing?
Probably my favorite was Aaron Stevens, who went on to become Damian Sandow.
And he's back to Aaron Stevens.
He's back to Aaron Stevens now, yeah. He came on the show, if you meet him outside, he's very quiet, at least back then he was, very quiet, very laid back. And then you get the camera turn on, just totally changed him. And he's just always very funny and just great guy to interview.
That was like Sean Gorman. He put the shades on, and boom, he became the manager of champions. And I was so happy to have him on the show, too.
Yeah, another good guy. Yeah.
Incredible. He gave me his book. Did you read his book?
I haven't read his book, but I heard a lot of good things
Unbelievable. I read it twice already. Seriously, it's that good.
Nice. I'll have to definitely look for that.
Yeah. My good friend of mine and a great fan of the show, Dan Bolia, wants to know, favorite chaotic show ever?
So that would have to be Cold Fury 5, which was back in, I want to say, either 2005, 2006. They had a cage match with Handsome Johnny, who's now, of course, in the Viking Raiders of WWE. And Mike Krul were in a steel cage match as the main event.
Mike Krul?
Yes.
Wow.
Tremendous match. And the undercard, Chase Del Monte wrestled Maverick Wild on that show.
Nice.
There was Psycho and Thomas Penmanship, where Psycho actually won the New England title from Thomas Penmanship that night. And you had a kind of weird tag team, Matt Logan teamed with Demon Ortiz against Arch Kincaid and Max Bauer. So just a lot of different styles. Wow. Brian Malonis wrestled Josh Daniels. Just the whole show.
Yeah. That's awesome.
A lot of favorites that I've had over the years.
So Josh Daniels was there, but the other one that Mike Krul.
Mike Krul, yeah. He was in the main event.
He was awesome.
Heavyweight title match.
You know what I mean? I think the only time I saw him live, I think he wrestled for Jersey All Pro when I was down there. I was doing a catering job for WSU.
Okay.
And we went to a Jersey All Pro show the next night. Me and my girl stayed down there, and he was on it. And friggin' guy was awesome. Nice. Then he disappeared.
Yeah. I haven't seen him.
Didn't he get signed or something?
I thought he was on his way to be.
I thought he went to a development. I thought he went, and then he was gone.
Because I think he do a lot with Jim Kettner. And,
yes.
Because that's why I think he was on the chaotic shows. They were kind of doing.
They were doing the talent exchange, right? Did Mr. Ulala ever come down here? I don't think so, right?
He did, no.
I became friends with Mr. Ulala. That's another story I'll tell you off the air, because this is about you. You have to hear it. It's incredible. All right, thanks, Dan. Nathan Fuller, a good friend of mine. What is your favorite episode of The Ring and All Other Sports? Putting them on the spot. Thanks, Nathan.
I don't want. I'm kind of afraid I'm going to insult somebody if I don't mention.
No,
but a lot of had a lot of good guests. One of my favorites was the first one when you had Pat Dillon on.
I love Pat.
One of my favorite people.
Me too.
Great guy.
Yep.
One of the nicest guys. You almost can't believe he's a promoter in wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. You can't believe he's involved with wrestling.
Yeah, real nice guy. So I really enjoyed that. And then the first time you had Maverick Wild. You never know what's going to come out of the mouth of Maverick Wild. Great guy, but so I always enjoyed. Those are probably my two favorites, but you've got a lot. I like when you have some of the fans on, like Dan Boulay. You had Damon Farah.
I love Damon. I'm actually going to that gathering in North Carolina in August with Damon. He invited me to go with him. We'll share a room.
Nice.
Drink with the wrestlers, because I asked Adam Luce, right?
Yeah, I do know Adam.
Adam told me that the wrestlers are in the bars afterwards drinking. I told Adam I'd buy him a beer. Nice. Adam's one of the best fans.
Big fan.
In New England. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says.
He doesn't have the red hair anymore, though, I heard.
No, he doesn't, but he knows his wrestling.
He does.
The history and everything.
Especially the independent wrestling. I mean, if you want to know about a show or anything, he's the guy to go to.
And all the big shows in like the tri-state areas, New Jersey, New York, he jumps on a bus and he goes. I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
I like Adam a lot. Adam, you got to come on this show. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, Damon Farah. First off, always great seeing you at the store where you guys used to work together.
We did, yeah. And actually, I didn't know that till I saw the question when he posted it.
Right.
So I didn't know that he actually worked with me many, many years back.
Wow,
as you're
all
going
right.
to get to in his question.
Yeah. And see you at the store in Chaotic Wrestling. Do you have any promotions that you would like to plan to go see in 2020? I think you just named one.
So Lucky Pro is definitely
Yeah,
one.
yep.
I was telling you before the show too is Joe Moakley's Atlanta Pro Wrestling. I have not been
See
to
me up
them.
there. We'll hook up some good food.
And well, we're on that today. Today is actually Big Woody's birthday, so shout out to
Yes.
Big Woody. You missed Big Guy.
Happy heavenly birthday, Woody. Actually, I wished him that on Facebook
I did as well.
because he was a 5-time. That guy loved my show. He came on 5 times. Even when I had heat with Sopel, and him and Sopel are good friends,
Okay.
he still came on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He brought Demon Ortiz with him. Wow. And I'll say this real quick. At the end, he gave Demon just a alone time with me for 15 minutes, and he got up and said, if people don't agree with me and Todd Sopel, they can kiss my fat ass. And I told Dick, cut that out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Woody, but I had to.
No,
But he's a great guy,
Yeah.
and he was a big supporter of the show.
Yeah,
You know?
big supporter of wrestling in
Yeah.
general. He did work for Tony Rumble for
Yep.
a little bit, and then for Knuckles up at Salisbury
Yeah.
Beach. I used to go to a lot of those
Knuckles
shows up
loved
there.
him too, man.
Yeah.
Because he really did. He loved him. Did you say I did a Big Woody special?
I didn't see that one, but
yeah, I had Gina and her son Sean.
Oh, nice.
You know, Woody lived with them, and I had Uncle Eddie,
Awesome.
Ed Hunt. It was really cool. It was nice to be able to do something like that for a guy that was such a big supporter of the show,
Yes.
and just a great guy in wrestling.
Definitely. I'll have to check. I'm sure it's on the YouTube
Oh
channel.
yeah, it
so
is.
definitely
It's
check
there.
it out.
But David also says, fun fact: David and I also worked together at the Stop and Shop in Stoneham, Mass, in the late '80s.
Yeah, which is funny because I know I've been
Right.
talking to Damon for 4 or 5 years now, easily at shows, and just never put together that I still can't place him. Well,
Yeah.
I apologize, Damon, but I know he does know some people that work there, and obviously the time frame is exactly when we were there. So,
And he's another great fan.
big fan.
I mean, I said Adam's a great, maybe one of the best fans, but David takes it a step more by buying everybody's shirts. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see him go to a show and buy 5 shirts in one night.
Oh, easily.
Because he supports everyone. You gotta love that. I mean, the wrestlers themselves must love David.
Without a doubt.
You know?
I mean, I can't speak for them,
Right.
but he's always pushing people's T-shirts on Facebook. I would say,
Yeah.
he'd make a great marketing guy.
Did you see him with all the poses?
Yes.
I love it, man.
Always,
I love
always.
it. All right, again, Nathan Full is back with another question. NXT or AEW? Tough to pick, I think.
It's a tough pick. I'm happy there's a choice again.
Me too.
I tend to watch NXT first. I just feel the wrestling is still a little bit better on
Yep.
NXT. Not taking anything against the guys
Right.
at
Plus
AEW.
the local guys are on NXT.
A lot of local
You know
guys.
what I mean?
Yeah. But I think there's room for both. And,
Right.
It's nice to see the audience is staying pretty split. It's still not, nobody's winning
Right.
one over the other. So it makes for fun, making wrestling fun again.
Yeah, and some of the younger guys that AEW have, guys like Darby Allin, who have wrestled for NEW in Connecticut and stuff like that. Incredible workers, man. And Joey Janela,
Yeah.
probably the best untrained professional wrestler I ever seen.
Yes.
You know? And the kid's got something.
Definitely.
You know? And I, like you said, I like them both, but I usually watch NXT first too.
Yeah.
You know? Because, again, the local guys, Dijak. We'll backtrack real quick. When you said Thomas Penmanship, some people may not know.
Yes.
That was Tommaso Ciampa.
That's right.
What does he call himself? Daddy's home.
Daddy's home.
Yeah. All right. Rich Landon is back, and I think it's because the picture I had of you when I put up the questions. Who's your favorite hockey team?
Oh, come on, Rich. You couldn't tell that by the picture, but yeah, it's the Bruins, of course.
Absolutely. I love the Bruins, too. It's my favorite sport is hockey.
Hockey. I knew you were big. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. George Resnick Jr. is back. Would you ever start a promotion?
No. And I'll tell you why. The money involved,
Yep.
it's a risk. And
Yep.
even if I had the money, Tony Rumble actually used to say it to my friend, the Jackal,
Yep.
and myself, even sometimes he'd be like, don't do it. It's
Right.
the biggest mistake you can make, I mean, the chances of succeeding is a lot of people have succeeded, but
Yep.
as I can tell you, it didn't start out that way.
Right.
Unless you have money to lose, and just, I don't know, I mean, as you mentioned, I've done a lot of different things at times, from refereeing to ring announcing
Right.
to camera guy to playing the music. But that's kind of the extent. I don't want to get involved in that politics of having to promote a show, and just not that there's I feel like today is a lot better than it was a few years ago.
Oh, definitely.
Where
and one of the reasons why I respect AG so much too is what I mean. Like I told you how hard he'd work to to sell the tickets and all that, but I mean, he's just he turns around and didn't want to put himself in like a main event spot, but and then somebody that worked at the show that night said to him, "No, man, people want to see that match.
Yeah.
Don't, not do it because you think you're pushing yourself." He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, honestly. And I told him right to his face, I honestly and truly believe he had a better 2019 than anybody. Money-wise, maybe not with the WWE guys and all that, but all the things he accomplished. Winning tournaments, all the titles he won, almost marrying 2 women. That's just,
That was the same night he won the chaotic title, though.
Yeah, it's awesome, huh?
Yeah.
Kid works hard.
Worked very hard, and, he's still young, so, the money days are there for him, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Mav, do you go to many shows as you used to? And if not, why?
I don't, and I think we touched on this a few minutes ago. It's hard, to find people to go with, when I first started going, I had, my friends that did the talk show with me that went. And then kind of when they stopped, I kind of met some people, wrestling Osiris, who great talent. I think one of the most underrated wrestlers in New England.
Oh, yeah. Managed, and Doc Ozon's longest client.
Yes. And Doc is a good friend of mine. I've known Doc forever. Great guy. Met him at NEWA. And,
oh, did you? Yeah, that's where you met.
I used to live
I think that's where I must have
met him
too.
Yeah. And started traveling with Osiris up to Maine shows, and then kind of met his uncle. So we were talking. I'm sorry, I lost my total train of thought here.
All right.
It was about. Do I go to those shows?
Many shows.
So started, going to those shows, and that's how I got involved. Sonny Roselli up in Maine. One day I just showed up, and I don't recommend anybody do this because I feel you should go to wrestling school and get trained. But there was one night, I'd gone, thinking, I'm just going to help with the camera or whatever, and they were like, we don't have a referee. So Larry Huntley threw me a referee shirt. He's like, you're refereeing the whole show tonight, and turned into 2 years of refereeing up there.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it turned. It was a nice experience. Yeah. It was hard to get a lot of other promotions that were interested because you have a guy that's this size, and half the wrestlers are, this size, and a lot of them didn't like having the referee that looks bigger than the 2 wrestlers.
That's like Kevin Quinn.
Yeah.
I always joke around with him. He's more jacked than half the guys he's reffing for.
Yeah. Kevin Quinn actually is from Woburn, and he used to watch my cable access show.
Really?
That's how I met.
That's
I knew Kevin.
Another great guy. And congratulations on your engagement. Looks like you got yourself a good woman there, Kevin.
Congrats, Kevin.
And she's got a good guy.
Definitely. An amazing guy. And it was just funny. I hadn't seen him. He had, used to talk to him when I seen him at wrestling shows because he used to watch my talk show. And then didn't see him for years. And one night I was at JC Mark show and NCW down in Dedham. And all of a sudden Kevin comes out and he's like, "Do you remember me?" And I didn't recognize him because he didn't have the bald head at the time. And I'm like, and he's like, "Kevin Quinn." And then as soon as he said the name, I was like, and just, for somebody like that to get a chance like he did, and great in the, ring.
And he told me about how, like, he used to go to shows and he was brutal on the wrestlers. Like, sometimes if he knew a jackass, he'd go do push-ups so he could go to the guy, look at me, you know what I mean? I love that, though.
Yeah, he had a lot of fun with it.
I mean, he's just a great guy. Matt, follow-up.
Sure.
You had weight rejection surgery. How's that going? Because it looks like it's going good.
It's going good. Not as good as it was.
Got to be hard, I'm sure.
In the last year, I've managed to put about 30, 40 pounds back on, which I didn't want to do, and I swore I wouldn't do it. But the first couple years was real easy. I wasn't able to eat much. Couldn't eat a lot of different foods. And then as I gradually started to be able to eat a little bit more, it's now you have, a lot of people, I've heard people say, "Oh, it's the easy way out." It's not. It's
no,
really
it's not. It's definitely
in the beginning, it might be. I mean, after the surgery, because the surgery is not easy
at
at all.
It looks like it's easy to people that want to lose weight, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, they watch that show, My 600-Pound Life, and they think it's not.
No. I know a lot of people that had the surgery, and they tell me the same thing. It's very hard to maintain.
And they tell me don't get discouraged because they're like, it's 40 pounds. But to me, it gets scary because, you start going up 40 pounds in a year. That's a lot in a year to me, So I know, so I've kind of this week started to set myself down, and I'm actually reverting back to exactly how I was eating right after the surgery for the next couple months, just so I can take some of that weight back off. But
good for you.
Was the best thing I did though. I was diabetic, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Was on like 8 different medications. I don't take any medication.
Really?
Just the vitamins.
That's awesome. Congratulations, because I just have been having problems with my sugar. It was sky high, and then I went to my doctors, and now it's dropping below 100, and it's like.
Yeah,
I've never had this issue before. It was always just high. So it's a battle. You know what I mean? I'm changing my eating habits and stuff.
And it's scary, and especially after the surgery, because that's what was happening to me. I wasn't on pills anymore, but because I was eating so little.
Yep.
When it goes low, that's a lot. Like when it goes high, you don't even always know that it's high. When it goes low, you know it went low.
Man, he told me to watch for the shakes.
Yeah.
But what happened with me is it dropped under headaches.
Yeah.
And felt like someone was just inside my head, just pounding it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's, but they, even the guy that did my surgery said they're actually considering that even for people that are overweight, if they have diabetes, using it as a tool because in 90% of the people, the diabetes, they don't call it cured, but they pretty much consider it controlled after you've had that.
Well, that's awesome, David. And it's nice to see you going back to what, you know how to do it. So that's awesome.
And, Mav, I want to thank him. Even in the beginning, he was always a great supporter when I first had the surgery, after surgery, And tremendous guy.
He's a great guy. I want to run this by. You know CJ Cruz at Chaotic?
Yes.
All right. I said to my buddy Dan, I think Mav should talk with that kid. No, honestly, because CJ's got this quirkiness about him.
Okay.
And Mav's probably one of the quirkiest, people I've ever met. I just think he, just put them in a room together, let them talk. I think you could help this kid a lot. And I'm not saying that CJ needs it. I'm just saying because of how I think they're both quirky guys, I just would love to see that happen, you know? Maybe I can get CJ on it. Mav has an open invitation, so he can come on the show with it. That'd be great. Last one from Mav on this. What would you say are your favorite and least favorite promotions? I like that question.
Well, for favorite, Chaotic's obviously one of the top for me. I've been going to them for off and on for a long time. NWA New England, obviously, just because of the roots that I've had kind of with them back in their CWA days. So I'd say those are probably at the top. There's so many good ones. We're talking a little bit. I didn't even think I got to name all the ones that I want to get to. Like I've never been to Beyond, and I've heard so many great things about their shows.
They're fun shows.
Rich Palladino, who one of my favorite people. I've known Rich since 1993.
Right.
Always telling me to come to this show and that show, and just always a big support.
You're going to have to meet me there one of these nights when they do the Thursday nights again.
Yeah, that's what he keeps telling me.
I usually take the Friday off so I can have a blast. Get drunk. All right, so that's it for the promotions.
So that's my favorite.
You don't have to say least if you don't want to. That's up to you.
I might save that for you for off the air, but I don't really say I hate any promotion.
Right,
they're all out there trying.
Yeah.
I think there are some promoters in New England that bring problems on their own that might cause that. Like I said, I don't want to cause any issues.
No
so I'd rather not say it.
Mav, I'll tell you later. I'll send you a message.
I'll even send Mav a message myself.
There you go.
Let him know. But
there's no reason to burn bridges.
He can probably figure it out.
I'm sure he can. All right. A few more questions. Joey Kilmartin. You know Joey?
I do know Joey.
I love Joey.
You had him on the show once.
Yeah, he's a great kid. Twice.
Yes.
Because I had him with Jason, and then the audio was really bad. But just before the Rumble show.
Okay.
What was his introduction to indie wrestling, and who are some of your favorites through the years that you've seen come through New England?
Sure. So as we mentioned, that was kind of with the, I lived in Melrose. I used to call into the cable access show, and then Tony Rumble ran the show, and that was kind of how I got, went to his first show, and then got involved with that cable access show for a little bit, and then just kind of was going to his shows for my own cable access show. And just so many people over the years. I mean, from Slick Wagner Brown when he first started, Luis Ortiz when he had his first matches. There was a guy that wrestled for Tony called named Steve Morabito.
Okay, I remember that name.
Yeah, he's actually involved in politics in Revere now.
Is he really?
He ran for mayor. I don't think he won, but he ran. Great guy. Was kind of wish he had stuck with it because he's a tremendous guy. Other guys like Tony Roy. Who I
had him here
you had
too,
him here
twice.
Just so many. Trey, the smooth operating gangster. And then to the current years, guys like. I always call him Todd Hansen, one of my favorites. I remember when he started as Johnny Blue up in Rhode Island, and, just so many. Gino Martino, the One Night Stand, one of my favorite tag teams.
Ronnie and Edward G. Ecstasy.
Yes,
They were a great tag team. I'd love to hear. I don't know if Ed Ecstasy's around anymore, but I know Ronnie's on Facebook. And I would absolutely, that was my favorite tag team for a while.
Yeah, they were.
You know what I mean? They were really good. And Aaron was with them too for a while.
Yes, I actually had the three of them on my show.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I actually didn't do it in the studio. I actually went, Chaotic had a show at 101 in Revere, and we actually set up in the back in Revere and did the interview right there on location.
Oh, that's
Taped
awesome.
it and just edited it and put it on the next week.
They were a hell of a tag team.
Yeah, they were tremendous.
Good sized guys too.
Yes,
Especially Ronnie was a little taller, but Edward was jacked too.
And going to today, there's guys. I saw a guy at the last Chaotic show that I went to in Andover named Charlie Cashew, and
unreal. The kid's really good.
I was just like so impressed.
Yeah.
Josh Briggs, another guy that I really like.
Yep.
I mean, I could probably go on for a whole
Oh
hour.
yeah, I hear you, no doubt. That's my buddy Dan. That's a hit. Charlie Cash is one of his favorite wrestlers, and I tease him all the time, telling me he has a man crush on him.
It's funny. Dan was at that show in Andover High School, and we stood there, talked the whole night, and never realized we were friends on Facebook or that he knew you until after we got home. And then he sends me a message like, "I knew you from somewhere." And was like, literally, we're talking the whole night. And
he's such a good guy.
Great guy.
My nephew introduced me to him.
Okay.
And I mean, we've been good friends ever since. And he's introduced me to a couple other good guys, Jesse and Mike. Good guys. Yeah. All right, Sonny Goodspeed. What's your favorite memory from an indie show?
Wow.
There's got to be a lot.
Wow, especially when you go back. I mean,
yeah.
It's funny for me. I remember the stuff way back as opposed to the stuff in the last, few years. For me, and I'm going to say it more because it was because I was involved in it. But Gino Martino and Trooper Gilmore ran a show down in Sandwich, Massachusetts. They used to do it every year for the benefit for the wrestling high school team.
Oh, nice.
And one year they brought in King Kong Bundy as the main event against Pierre the Beast Vachon was the main event. And growing up watching Bundy, I'd been a big fan. And, they're like, oh, we need an enforcer referee, and they let me referee the match. And it was just, for me, that stuck with me forever.
That's awesome. So Buddy was cool.
Great guy. Yeah. I mean, I had met him and actually interviewed him at the Woburn Mall when I did my show. And tremendously, nice guy.
That's cool. Isn't it awesome when you meet them and they turn out to be maybe even better than you expected them to be?
On that note, like Abdullah the Butcher, I met him when he wrestled for Tony Rumble and just... One, the voice totally threw me off. Yeah. Sounds like Mickey Mouse. Sorry, Abdullah. But,
it's true.
But great. One of the nicest guys.
He really is. I met him at Phil Castanetti's Sports World one time. And I went to take a picture, and the batteries were dead.
Oh, no.
We get out to the car. My youngest daughter had a toy, and my son said, Dad. So I went back inside. The guy, it wasn't Phil, but the guy that brought him into Phil, I come in. I said, can I get a picture? And the guy goes, no. And Abdullah says, he bought 2 autographs. Come here, and he let me take 2 pictures.
Nice.
Put me in a headlock, and then we just did the normal, you know what I mean, standing side by side. But he was so cool.
Definitely.
And you're right. He definitely doesn't sound like you'd think he sounds.
No.
High-pitched voice.
Totally high-pitched voice.
I would have loved to have gone to his restaurant. I know it's gone now, but like RF, Rob and them, Doug Gentry and all those, they used to go down there all the time.
I actually, when he did the Tony Rumble shows, he actually gave me, and I still have it laminated at home, it was a business card for the restaurant. So
nice.
Abdullah's House of Ribs in Atlanta.
That's a pretty cool thing to have.
Yeah, it's like,
Nice. Have you ever, and this is another question from Sonny, and I love this one. Have you ever been afraid you may have given too much shit to a bad guy wrestler? I know I did. I think I did once.
I tended, especially at independent shows, because once I kind of felt like, not that I was, because I like what you said, and you were doing your question and answer on Facebook or this past weekend, and you had said, your Sonny always says you're adjacent to the wrestlers.
Yeah, business adjacent. Even you commented that on the thing.
And that's how I feel, because I don't consider myself in it, even though I've done some ring announcing, I've done a little bit of refereeing. I didn't go to a wrestling school. I didn't get trained. I only did it because the promoters asked me to. And, I said, why not, But I think when I tended to go as a fan, I tended to kind of stay away from that because I didn't want to get in that. But there was definitely times I wanted to.
Right.
I think there were some times when I was a little bit involved that I was, we talk about being adjacent, that when I got involved that I let myself get too involved and it caused some problems with some promoters because I thought, I'm going on the internet defending these promotions, and they just like, no, don't post anything on the internet. And I ignored that and thought, I was 20 years old. I thought, I'm right, you're wrong. This was when the internet first started.
Put it out there.
And it
caused
a couple times caused some problems, and it got fixed.
Live and you learn.
You live and learn, and but I think that's kind of what made me realize, just kind of go unnoticed.
Right.
I used to go, Brian Duffy that you mentioned.
Yes.
Him and his father used to go, and they used to love them. They used to sit in the chaotic audience all the time, and his father used to just like yell and scream, and just get so into the show. And when they used to run him with Methuen, Vince Vicalo would come out the bear, and he always hand him the bear in the front row because he knew who he was. And
I wish he was around. I'd love to have him on
good
the
guy.
show.
Yeah, I see him on Facebook, but he's not on Facebook very much.
Right. I did it once to Frankie Amadillo at a, I think it was Yankee Pro back then. I gave him crap. He lost 2 matches, and then when he was coming out, and I was pretty ruthless on the guy. He comes walking by, and he says, I said, what do you want to lose 3 times? I think that really got him mad. But he was really good, Frankie.
He was.
You know?
Yeah, I used to go up to EWA in Maine. When James St. Jean was kind of at his end, and then Steve Ramsey and Scott King, who's Alexander Worthington III, they took over with another guy. I can't remember his name offhand at this time, but the 3 of them were running it, and I actually had them on my show, and they ran a couple shows in Mass, one in Lawrence, and one in Wakefield, and then they did a bunch up in Maine, and I used to actually put together a half-hour TV show for them. So,
nice.
And that's when, Frank Armadillo was just starting. Brian Black was the ring announcer for them back then.
Really?
Yeah, before he got to WWF. And,
that's wild.
And Johnny Curtis, who went on to become Fandango, he actually wrestled for them under a mask as a part of the Asian connection. So kind of funny that you see those guys advance over the years.
See that, and I always just say I'm not in the wrestling business because I don't want people to think that I am. Just because I have a show and I've done catering, I actually did ring announcing for Collision Pro 3 shows. Did you ever hear that?
I did. I went. Yeah, I went.
Bobby Fish, right?
Yeah.
He was on. I only did 3 shows.
Okay.
He was on all 3 shows with a different name each time.
Oh, wow.
Matt Jerk Jackson, Madden Fisher, and Bobby Fish. That's crazy though, right? I mean, what are the odds of that happening?
That's pretty fun. Yeah.
You know?
Did you do any of them at the Good Times or just?
Yes, one at Good Times, and one of the main events was Eddie Edwards versus Azrael.
Okay.
And Eddie gave me crap because he didn't tell me he just got back from Noah, but Azrael said he just got back from Dragon Gate. So I said, just coming back from Dragon Gate and over in Japan. And as I'm doing it, Eddie's going like this to me. And then he takes the microphone and he's like, the Dragon Gate's nothing but flippy floppers. You're the real company. I just got back from nowhere. And I'm looking at him like, I didn't know, But it was awesome.
Awesome, yeah. No, they're great. One of my favorites,
Eddie's unbelievable.
When he first started, he was going to Kowalski schools. He was wrestling for Knuckles Nelson up at Salisbury Beach every week. And something then said to me, this kid's going to do something. And
I swear to God, the same thing. That first time I saw him, I said, if he don't get hurt and he sticks with it, this kid's going to be something. And look at him.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'll be honest with you, I didn't see that in Dijak. How wrong was I?
Yeah,
right?
No,
honestly.
No.
Yeah, he's an incredible athlete.
Yes.
All right, Dan Boley is back with another question. Do you think he asked me this the other day? You probably heard the answer.
Okay.
I had. Do you think Chaotic should have put the Chaotic title on Scotty Slade at Cold Fury 13 going into the match? Mark Sherman was the champion, and it was a 3-way against Scotty Slade and Brian Fury. Do you think they should have put the belt on Scotty?
And I'm going to go again with the disclaimer like you did. Nothing against Scotty Slade.
Yeah, nothing against him.
Tremendous talent. One of the nice kid. Great dad.
Yep. Super dad.
Yeah, exactly. But I just don't see him as the heavyweight champion. And it's not.
That's how I answered the same way, Dave.
Yeah, and I was watching when he said that. It's not him, but the size definitely part of it. And I'm not saying size means everything, but I see him more in that mid card.
Right. I could see him with the New England title, the tag team title, but that heavyweight championship. Yeah. I just don't know. But again, like you said, Scotty's awesome.
Yeah.
Good guy, super dad, great and talented in the ring. It's a size.
Yeah.
It's a size that, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are his body-wise size, but they're taller.
Yes.
That's what I think. If he would have been 3 inches taller, 2 inches taller, even with the build that he has, I could see it.
Definitely.
But, he's just on the smaller height size, and it's a shame because we're not trying to, like you just said, disclaimer. We think Scotty's awesome.
Exactly.
I just didn't see it either. So I hope you like it. I don't think it was the answer Dan was looking for because he thinks they should have. But if they ever were going to, that definitely would have been the time to do it because him and Sherman were on the outs.
Yep.
And it would have been perfect if they did decide to go that way.
Oh, yeah. It definitely would have made sense from a storyline standpoint, but I kind of see why they didn't.
Yeah, and they ended up giving it to Brian Fury.
They did.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm going to ask him that question tomorrow, even though I know he wasn't a booker, what he thinks of that.
Yeah.
All right, Jushin Thunder Liger just retired. Do you have any favorite memories from his career?
For me, what sticks out the most I remember is he had a lot of matches with Brian Pillman in WCW. That's where I kind of got a lot of exposure was when he would make his WCW appearances. So that was biggest. But I also remember, I want to say it was Fall River, New Bedford, but he did do a show up here in New England. I can't remember. Shooter was involved with that, if I remember correctly.
Well, I'll have to ask him later tonight.
He might remember, and I might be mistaken. It might not have been him, but it was, it was so long ago, But I know he did come up here once.
That's
it was
awesome.
like in I wish I'd gone. I didn't go either, and I wish I had gone because I feel like
just
that's
to
a
meet
rare,
him would have been incredible.
like rare chance.
And same with you though. That's my memories. The best memories is the matches with Pillman.
Yeah.
Or any time you got to see him wrestle though, you knew it was special.
Yes.
That's one thing for sure. You knew it was like, wow, look at this guy. And then you had a 30-year career?
Easily, yeah.
Not bad, man. Not bad. Wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors.
I just, when a guy retires, I like a guy to stay retired. I feel like
me
that
too.
coming out. Other than Terry Funk, he gets a pass because he's been doing it
Terry
forever.
Funk.
But
Forever.
Exactly. I mean, even a guy like Ric Flair. I mean, he went out there, that great tribute to him, and then he's come back a million times now that you can never repeat that. Like if he went out then,
I say that to anybody that I talk about Ric Flair with. He stuck around 10 to 12 years too long.
Yeah.
If he would have just rode off into the sunset at about 50 years old, I think he would probably be the best wrestler in the world. To me, that's what makes Shawn Michaels better than him. They're both great, but Rick stuck around too long.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I got a chance to meet Rick at a Big Time Wrestling show back in 2009.
Oh, wow.
And, got a pay, one time, probably the only time I ever paid for a picture like that because I just...
You had to, man. It's the Nature Boy.
Because I grew up watching him. I mean, that was my, I had exposure to WWF, and then as soon as the, Crockett TV got on Channel 25, and then TBS on my cable system, and then, he just became like the guy that I just loved watching for so many years. And
do you remember when Southwest Championship Wrestling was on USA? Did you ever catch that?
Funny story, where I lived at the time,
the
week we got USA Network was the debut of All American Wrestling, so they were advertising. Literally, I put the channel on, they were like, Southwest Championship Wrestling coming up next, and then comes on, it's All American Wrestling. Which,
wow.
Yeah.
That's too bad, because I mean, I got to see, I remember before cable hit, the IWA, what Mil Mascaras was the champ. I can't remember what channel it came on, but they were on, and I was flipping out because it was like the late 70s, 78, 79. It was really cool. And Mil Mascaras, one of my favorite guys from being a kid. I met him at an Icons of Wrestling, and he friggin' gave me the no speaking the English. And I said right to him, I said, you talked English on all your interviews? And he just looked at me, and I was very bummed. That was how I just said it was great when they exceed expectations. No, not that. I was kind of a little depressed, but Stan Hansen made up for it later that day. So
it's funny. I always pictured him being like not the nicest guy, and I've heard great things about him.
I brought him down to make him a sandwich, and Derek's at the end of the hallway going, "No way!" So as he comes down, Derek says to him, Sir, it's a pleasure to meet you. This guy did nothing but talk about you in our 6-hour drive down here." And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "You're the best, man. I love you, Stan."
I wish I had seen some of his WWF matches. I kind of saw him when he was AWA champion, and then his stint in WCW, which he was still great. I used to love in AWA when he used to trace Larry Nelson with
that was all with the bullwhip.
Yeah,
he's incredible, man. Like I said, I shook his hand, my hand disappeared. Seriously, like his hand is just monstrous. But one of the nicest guys I've ever met for wrestlers. Him and Jimmy Valiant, both of them were like so nice. RVD is cool too. Gary Stillwell. Are you planning on going to the UFO show on February 19th to get a look at some new and developing talent and great entertainment? He's right on that.
It is definitely great entertainment. Pat Dillon puts on some great shows. And he brings in some talent that you don't always see in England.
I remember he brought in Casey Carlisle not too long ago. That was kind of cool.
So I am actually hoping, it's tough with work sometimes on a Wednesday night, but I'm going to try my best. I'd like to go because Pat puts on good shows, and that venue in Malden's great for wrestling. Irish American Club, tremendous place.
I went to the first show that Dante Luna did.
Yes.
The place was mobbed.
Yeah, I mean,
that kid hustles.
Yeah, he does. You know? Between his shows there, gets that Fenway Park show every year.
And the documentaries and stuff that he does. And he's a real nice guy.
Yeah,
I had him here with Bo. Super guy.
I mean, Bo, I've known a long time. I've not had the chance to meet Dante yet, but...
when you meet him, you'll be very impressed. Because I tell people that I think someday the whole world's going to know his name.
Definitely.
If he keeps... And I love that... try harder or something. You know what I mean? He works his ass off.
Great guy.
All right, so we'll go talk about your show for a minute.
All right.
I already asked about anyone that you had. How about, who are some of your favorite guests?
So definitely, as we mentioned, John Rodeo was
Yep.
definitely one of my favorites. I was telling you before the show, I did get a chance to have Killer Kowalski on.
That's amazing.
Tremendous guy. Funny story, not from my show, but there was somebody else that produced a show there that had Killer on like a year before I started doing show in the Storm Studio. And the show was a 1 hour show, and Kowalski's talking, and they get it's like 59 minutes, and like we got to wrap up, and he goes, no, you keep going, and they had to turn it into a 2-part episode because he just kept talking and talking and talking.
That's cool.
But great guy. I mean, the first time I interviewed him was at a Tony Rumble show.
Right.
I brought the camera in. He was the first one right away. Mel Simons, who was
I know Mel.
actually brought me over and he said, he'll gladly do it. And, it was new to me at that point. I had just started. And right away, he's like, I never turned down an interview and just put the camera on and you just went for like 20 minutes. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Definitely. Got a chance to interview Sergeant Slaughter. And one thing I always remember is he not only did he do the interview for me, but he did a little bumper, so he would like say, "This is Sergeant Slaughter. You're watching Inside Pro Wrestling on Media One Community Television. Don't touch that dial, and that's an order." And I used that for the whole time of the show, like every episode, just
right. I don't blame you. I would have too.
Yeah, it was just.
It's amazing how you get someone like people say to me all the time. You should get these WWE guys. That's not what this show's about.
No,
this show is about showcasing New England talent, and that's what I wanted to do right from the start. It took a while. But I don't know if you noticed, but one time I was booked 6 months in advance.
Yeah, I remember you saying you always stuck and.
And then AG said to me, I said, when are you going to come do the show? He goes, when you're not booked 6 months in advance. So right now, literally, I'm only booked until the first week of February.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, it'll pick up again.
Oh, yeah, it will. All right. I already asked you about someone you didn't get.
Okay.
All right, name game.
All right.
Some of these guys we've already talked about, so I'm going to skip over them. Right. I'm going to start off with the guy that I really like a lot, Bull Montana.
Oh, the legend, Bull Montana. I
can't
say enough. I mean, tremendous guy, been around forever. I mean, he actually wrestled Shawn Michaels in the ICW days.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I remember going to ECW shows at Wonderland, and Tommy Rich would be on the shows, and right away be like, "Where's Bull? Where's Bull?" And
really?
Always around Bull. Yeah, loved Bull.
Awesome.
I mean, those guys, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
They loved Bull. I remember having them, they did some promos for my show with Public Enemy and Bull, and they just did these promos and
That's awesome.
But they always look for Bull, and he knows everybody, and they all, they come here and they know him. It's just, but amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Great guy, been around forever, and it's glad to see he was part of that Battle Royal and actually won the Battle Royal.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't think he was going to be in it, you know, but I'm glad he won. Bull's a great guy, like you said, and he's been around forever.
Yes.
All right, we already talked about Rumble and those guys, Bo, Damon. How about Brian Privatera?
Brian,
Brian?
I do know who he is. I haven't seen a lot of him.
Yep.
I've heard a lot of good things, so I hopefully get to see a little bit more of him going forward.
Nice. He's a great guy. He'll be on the Pat Dillon show.
Nice.
He's on usually on all of
He
Pat's
might have been
shows.
on the one that I went to maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But
He most likely was.
Okay.
Super guy, though. I have a special needs stepdaughter.
Okay.
And he impressed me so much when he met her, how it was just amazing. I already liked him and respected him.
Okay.
But it went 10 times after that,
Definitely.
It made an impression. Anyone that's nice to special needs, especially my stepdaughter, I love them,
And hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, honey. Ripper Morrison.
Oh, Rip. Funny, poor Rip. And I'm not going to go into the whole story. I don't even know if he'll remember it.
Okay.
But when I did my cable action show, I did a couple things where they let me come up and tape a couple of shows. And then he was kind of the contact person, and he got kind of the directive that they weren't allowing me anymore. And I was upset about it and took it personal. And he kind of got on the receiving end. But I've seen him since then, and I don't even think he remembers, to be honest. Until now that I just mentioned it.
Right.
But great guy.
He is a super
great guy.
Love Rip.
And great in the ring. I mean,
he was
I used to
awesome.
love the Hudson Lions Hall shows. I mean, I used to go all the time.
Him and Mav had some bloodbaths.
Yes.
Incredible. You brought him up real quick earlier. Jason Sanderson, Wolfie. I love Wolfie.
Another great
Wolfie.
guy. He was, always great
Yep.
when I went to the shows. Always, and I actually saw him and Jeff. Gino, when he got inducted into Gino Martino got inducted into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Oh, they went down?
They were there, and we actually went to eat afterwards with them. And first time
Nice.
I'd seen them in a long time. But yeah, great guys.
Did Jason pick up the tab?
I don't think he has that money anymore. But I don't think he wants us to discuss that.
He built a log cabin.
I think I remember him saying.
so nice.
I think I remember him saying if he had to do it again, he wouldn't have played the lottery. But
He's awesome. And we brought up Jeff. Kid Crazy.
great guy.
Little crazy.
Little crazy. And he's got we'll give him the plug, right? He's got that podcast coming up. So
the happy hour with
the happy
Kid
hour.
Crazy.
I can't wait because I think
too.
that's going to be kind of fun.
He won't pull no punches.
No. He definitely doesn't.
You know. Great guy. I just met him in the last couple of years.
Yes.
I mean, I saw him wrestle, but really, really super guy. Brian Fury.
Another great guy. I actually remember when he wrestled for Wolfman and Lobster Man up here in Nashua. I think it was St. Stan's. They had the shows. I forget. He didn't even wrestle under Brian Fury then, but
it was Brian Jury.
Brian Jury. That's right. Yeah.
And his Bengal trunks.
Yes.
Because I have a picture of it with him in his little orange Bengal
the
trunks.
Shepherd. Yep. And he did some MWF shows under the same name, but. Always been nice to me. Saw him at the Chaotic Show in Andover and was like, oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. Still remembers me, but great guy.
Great worker.
And, I think he's done a great job since taking over Chaotic from Jamie and,
Absolutely.
Mark,
He was the right guy for the job. Seriously, especially with the school.
With the school.
And he's got some great students right now that they're starting to make it on the shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we said, Charlie Cashew, CJ Cruz, Ricky Archer. Another kid I just found out that kid's 19.
Wow.
Can you imagine what he's going to be like, honestly, when he's 23?
Yeah.
He's going to be unbelievable.
Especially
if he's even around here.
Yeah. If he keeps with it, he'll do good.
Absolutely. Let me see if I get another name or two in there. Chris Casanova. How about Killing-Over Inc.?
Killing-Over, liked them. Great tag team. Casanova, that was one of my favorite Chaotic moments this year when Casanova won the Chaotic Wrestling Heavyweight title because well-deserved.
Yes.
Used to see him on some of the smaller shows and it was nice to see him get that chance.
Nice. Yeah, we only have 50 seconds. We won't do no more names, but incredible.
I can't believe that went that quick.
It goes so fast, but you'll have to come back again.
Definitely.
Just let me know. I'll send you some dates or whatever.
Some dates.
Again, I'm not booked that far in advance, so
that's true.
But we could play the name, and between guys like us, there's a million things we could talk about.
This was,
we could talk about tag teams, masked wrestlers, managers. I mean, we could talk for hours.
Hours, exactly.
But yeah, Killing-Over Inc. I found out they told the story how they got put together. And this is not I don't want anybody to think this is down on Christian.
Yeah.
But putting an 18-year veteran with him only helped.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? And then then they brought the big guy when he came back.
Yeah.
Royce,
yeah.
And now they got Tasha Steeles.
Yeah.
Killing-Over Inc., man, for the culture. Absolutely. Dave.
Leo, thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
I enjoyed this very much.
Thank you for everyone with the questions, too. That was great.
We're out. Peace.